Hi everyone, I thought it would be good fun to have a go at this large fish page in Lost Ocean by Johanna Basford. I have been asked to do this page actually, so I've at last got round to having a go. What I'm going to do is demo a few parts of it for you, and because a lot of it repeats. So for example, all these would be the same and all these would be the same, so I'll sort of do this bit and then show you how I would do these bits, and then at the end of the video I'll share a photo of the finished item. I'm going to use a mix of different things to colour it with. I'm going to use Bambino crayons. I've got these Bambino colouring crayons. They do have quite a fair range of colours, and what I've decided is I'm going to make this fish quite mad, should we say. He's going to make really bright colours. Pinks and purples I thought might be fun. So we're going to grab some and get going. So this is the this one. I'm going to zoom in actually, we can't really cope with being that far away. I think that's, yeah, it's probably good. So we're going to do this colour. This is the sort of elk type critter on this one. And I'm going to use it for these sort of face areas. Now with the Bambinos, you can get different colours within the same crayon. So I'm pressing quite lightly to start with, and I'm going to fill this area in. Don't worry if you go over the lines here, because we're going to be doing some areas with metallic pens to make it look shiny, which I think would be fun. So, but we're going to do the crayon parts first. So this is just a fairly even, well, not really, but a start to that section. And I think what I'm going to do is make it a little bit darker down here. It would be darker perhaps nearer the base of the fish, where it's sort of deeper into the water. So this bit's going to be a bit darker. I think this colour's quite interesting. I think it looks a little bit reddish. I'm going to go over it in a pink, I think, in a minute. And I'm going to do the same in this section, so it's a little bit darker towards the bottom. Now, with the Bambinos, you can sharpen them. I'm going to do that in a minute, because I'm not staying in the lines very well. I just use my conventional Staedtler Noris pencil sharpener. They just sharpen with a normal pencil. You don't have to remove the paper. I prefer to leave it on so that I can see the colour better. This also means I'm not holding the crayon, which I think might melt or it might discolour my hand, so I don't want to do that. Someone recently very kindly bought me some pencil extenders, but they're very narrow ones which will work perfectly for these crayons, which is really good. As you can see, this colour I haven't used very much, so it's nice and long, but some of my colours are getting shorter, and I think the pencil extenders will be really useful. Partly because I've got some Derwent ones, and I found those quite tricky. I pop a pencil in and sort of screw it round a bit to secure it and that sort of thing, and they didn't work for all of my sizes of pencil very well. These ones are quite narrow, so again, they don't work for all my sizes of pencil, but then you wouldn't really expect it to, because they can't cater for everybody and everything. But they are just the right size. You can just push this pencil crayon into it, and then when you turn it up like this to use it, it doesn't fall out, but you can just easily pull it back out. So it's really good, because you need to obviously take them in and out for sharpening, and you can do that really simply. So I really like that. So I'm just doing an even-ish layer again here. I think I'm going to do some metallic around that eye when we get there, so I'm not worried too much if I go over. How are we going to shade this bit? I think we'll do a bit darker here on the edge and lighter in towards the middle, like that, and the same here. And what I'm going to do now is go in with a lighter pink. I'm actually going to use this really light one. This has got a little bear on it, and I'm going to use it to just smooth out the crayon and it's not going to hugely change the colour, which is what I want, but because it's a pink tone rather than the white, it will just keep that theme that I want going with the pink, and it will just help to fill in that white paper where I just want a little bit more intensity of colour. It almost just burnishes it down a little bit more into the book. Now you can do your fish, realistic fish colours, but I looked some up and they're not really that bright and pretty, all of them. Some are and some aren't. So I just decided to just go for it and pick colours that I fancy doing. But you know, it's up to you. You can do a little bit of research, find out what's going on with the different fish colours. So there are those bits done. I'm going to grab my black and just do the eye. Now I don't want the whole of the eye black. I'm going to do some metallic pen around the outside. This very centre bit I want black. I need to sharpen. The good thing with sharpening crayons is they don't ever snap, not like pencils, because there's no little lead in them. So I'm going to do the very centre of the eye in this black. I'm going to make it quite intensely dark. There we go. For the outside bit, although fish don't really have the sort of iris of the eye like we do, they sometimes have a sort of almost pearlescent colour. So I'm going to do a bit of grey actually and make it darker each side and then lighter towards the top and bottom, and actually leave some white, make it look a little bit shiny. I hope that's worked, but we will use the metallic pens on those bits as well once we get round to doing that bit. So that's the face part. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to do one of these. Okay, I'm only going to do one because it's going to be really boring if I do more than that. So I'm going to grab a purple. This is the purple with the fish on, which seems quite the right thing to do, doesn't it? And for this part, I'm going to go in darker here and then fade it out towards the end here like that, and do the same on each one. Now you could go over this in a white to burnish that top area down a little bit so you aren't seeing the white paper through, or you could just leave it with the white paper showing. It's completely up to you which method you prefer to do. If you are going to use the white, I'm not, don't take it all the way down to the end. You want some of this dark purple showing. So start off with a harder amount of white there and reduce it and stop about here. But I'm happy with not doing white, just leaving it. You can even just sort of go over until you get the look that you're looking for. So that's all I'm going to do with those, quite straightforward. I am going to scribble down what I'm doing now, because when I do my next one I'm going to forget. So I'm just, you'll have to bear with me. I should stop the camera. It's recording, but I'm not going to. So that's that one, and then we've got these little tiny, this bit around here I'm going to do in a metallic pen, but these little tiny bits I am going to colour in, and I am going to use a blue, the darkest blue, which is the one with the seal on it. The seal's balancing a ball on the end of its nose. And I'm going to give it a sharpen. Sorry, I just wrote that down so I didn't forget, because we're in a very small space, but can get them really sharp. Look at that. Sorry, it's a bit out of focus. So I'm just going to fill in those little bits like that, as simple as that. So that'll be the same all over the whole fish. And then we've got this piece, as I said, I'm going to do some metallic pen. Now with these bits, we've no longer got this pattern. Now if you're feeling artistic, you might want to draw that in. You might feel like you want that pattern over the whole fish. You could do if you wish. I'm not feeling artistic, and I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is use a very slightly different shade of purple for these. And this is the purple with a camel. Okay, I'm just writing that down again. See, this is a good tip for you to make sure you know where you're at with what you're doing. What I would actually do if I wasn't on camera, I would do all of that colour right away and then I wouldn't forget. But if you're likely to leave it and come back to it later, I know some people do a little bit of colouring and have to tidy it all away, then write it down. I know I wouldn't recommend a sticky note because it might leave glue on your book if you stick it in the page, but just a little sheet of paper or a sketchbook or something like that. Now what I want to try and do with this this scale is to make it darker on the edge and the bottom here and lighter as we go across. So I'm putting more layers of colour along the bottom and the edge and then just reducing it as we go to try to lighten it up, and hopefully we will be able to see that there is a bit of a difference. And basically you just work at it, layering over and over until you're happy that it looks as you had planned. Like that. I'm happy with that. No, actually I'm gonna not. Just do that a little bit more. So the idea is to do all of the scales like that. Now we are going to have a look at this bit. Now what I'm going to do for this bit is I'm going to grab a pink. So we've got a different colour. This pink is the one with the whale on it. And we're going to really just colour, I'm going to colour over those circles because I'm going to go over them with my metallic pen. Now my metallic pen, I'm just doing an even cover at the moment of this pink. My metallic pen's right over the top of this crayon, so it doesn't matter if I colour over. So we're going all the way up, and what I'm going to do is use the same metallic pen for these lines as the dots probably. So let's see anyway. And the metallic pens that I'm going to be using, I've got lots of different colours, so it's quite fun. Now what I'm going to do is I want it to be darker here. So I'm going to put down quite a lot of layers up there and then reduce that as we go down towards the bottom, like that. And I'm going to do the same with this one. So put lots of layers in there and reduce it as I go down towards the bottom. I'm going to use this colour as well. Oops, that's a bit messy. There we go. For the for this. Oh, hang on, you can't see. Oops. For this, I'm actually going to do quite a dark application in there. Okay, and then down here, I shall do it dark this side. We'll use the metallic pen on the lines, so do it dark here and then reduce it as we go down towards the end of this sort of fin. So I'm doing less and less layers as I go down towards the tip. And the top has a piece like this, identical to this one, so I'm not going to show you. But we've got the tail. Now the tail's got lots and lots of lines on, and again it will have the same metallic pen as the fins, but it's quite tricky to colour in all these spaces, but we don't need to worry about missing them out. So I'm just going to colour right over those lines. Now if you're not using a paint pen, then you can't get away with this. But because I am, I can do this cheat and then just reduce as I go towards the tip of the tail. I want to do that, but it's going to block you. I'll just do the bottom bit. So now I'm doing less layers, trying to smooth it as much as I can. At the speed I'm going quite fast. So the aim is to try and just make that smooth if I can. These crayons are quite forgiving when it comes to things like that. So there we go. I think that's everything I need to show you. So I'm just making sure I've noted it all down. Now the Bambino crayons do have a silver, and you could use the silver crayon for all of your detailing if you don't have any other types of pens. But I'm going to use these. These are metallic colour pen. They're made by Guangna, but I bought them from, no, I didn't buy them at all. I was given them by Grabi, who asked me to review them. I have done a review, but I rather like them. They're like a felt tip pen or a marker, but they've got paint inside, which is quite fun. And you get a big range of colours like this, and they're metallic. Now the metallic isn't as brilliant as some pens. I find the gold and silver is much better than the other colours, and I have found that with other brands as well. But trying to get them out of the box, sorry, I do like the novelty of being able to use different colours. The only problem with these is there are no identifying names or numbers, so I'm just going to have to grab a pink or a purple and just go for it. So what I want first is actually going to do the outside of the eye, and in this set, just trying to look, sorry, bear with me a minute, there is a grey and there is a black. The grey is like just normal silver, so here we go, you can see the lids. So this one's quite black, so I'm going to do this one around the centre of the eye, and you can see the nib is just like a normal marker. There we go, so that's around there, and then I'm going to do the silver one around the outside. I doubt you can see very well any shine because of the angle. Now they're not as sparkly as a glitter pen would be, so you might prefer to use those. I have got a few, but I'm just trying something different. Okay, so that's those. That's all I'm doing with those on this page completely. The next one I want is this sort of reddish pink colour. I'm just looking at what I have got. I've got a red, but I really want to try and make that look more pinky purple. So maybe this colour, I'm thinking this looks a bit reddy purple. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I think actually I'm going to go for this one. It's hard to tell just by looking at the lid. Now we've got the whole of the outside of the fish, which I'm not going to do at the minute. I'm just going to do these bits. I'm hoping that it's going to look okay. The good thing with a paint pen is that if it doesn't look right, you can just go over it. But once it's dry, you can just go over it again. Now these tips, although they say they're 1 mil, they seem fairly thick. They're a little bit tricky in these small spaces, but I am going to persevere. Just have to be careful and take it reasonably slowly, which is not something I'm brilliant at, but hey ho. So there we go, and this bit as well. This looks a lot more purpley than I had imagined, because I didn't scribble on some paper first to try it out. It's entirely my own fault, but I think it's going to be okay. Now I'm also going to do this bit that curves around the eye in this pen as well. I'm going to do it now so I don't forget what I'm doing. Now, I'm not used to using pens very much, so I'm even worse at staying in the lines than I am with pencils. But it's a new challenge for me, and I'm determined to sort of start mastering and using them a little bit more. And I've actually ordered a set. I'm going to stay away from the edge there, and for myself for Christmas of some gel pens. So I've used Obviously I use white gel pen a lot, but the other colours, no, never. So I'm hoping they don't bleed through paper and that I can have some fun with those. Okay, that could be neater, but I am going to leave it there. And I'm going to move on to this bit. We want quite a dark purpley one for that, I think. And we have this one. So basically just around here. It's quite bluey, isn't it? So it's a blue violet, I would say, or an indigo-y almost. But there's that one. It works well with the blue crayon, and that needs to go on all of them, even this one. Okay, and our last colour would be for these. And I think I'm going to go for a more delicate pinky colour like that. And just pop that on here. Now be careful with these because they take a while to dry. Paint takes longer to dry than markers. So you'll need to be patient. I will leave this book open now. It's actually lunchtime doing this, and I will leave my book open until tomorrow morning, just to be absolutely sure. Obviously I won't, I probably finish this later in the day. So that's that one. On the tail, oops, I will go, I'm not going to do it because I haven't finished colouring it, but I'll go over every line there, and all we've got left is the very outside of the fish. And what I think I'm going to do for that, let's go back to the front, is use a blue. And that's because we've got a little tiny bit of blue here, and this is quite a bluey purple. I think it's going to work. I'm going to grab what I think is a dark blue though, this sort of colour, and we'll see what happens. I just think I'm going to have to let this dry a little bit before I finish colouring, because I'll have my hand all over it. I'm going to leave that there. You can't see me. I'm going off camera. So hopefully you can see a bit of the shine on there, and maybe a little bit here as well. So I'm going to finish that off. I'm going to neaten it all up a little bit, go a little bit more slowly and make it look nice, and take a photo for you, and then you'll be able to work out, you'll be able to see what it looks like and decide if it's something that you want to try. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in and finishing it. Unfortunately, I have got some other things to do, but never mind, I shall get to it at some point. So thank you so much for watching, and happy colouring.